Joe looks like he's going to a Wes Anderson cosplay later.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Taste Like Music. Jason, Joe, and Crams are here. It is our favorite singers series. We've each made our own top 25 singers of all time lists, and every week we reveal one more person from our lists. We're up to number 17 this week, and I believe it's Joe's turn to reveal his 17th favorite singer first.
All right, 17th favorite all time. He was a short king, started out in one of the greatest prog bands of all time. As the drummer, take that prog band to the top charts, establish himself, one of the most successful solo acts of the decade, 7 number ones. An unlikely story, I guess you could say it was against all odds. Yes, Phil Collins. And I think the story of Phil Collins is important to remember when talking about Phil Collins, the singer, because he was probably the last person people would expect to become like one of the biggest pop stars of the 80s. He's 5'6", he's short. He's kind of, he's not great looking for a solo singer star. And he became the singer because the band's incredibly talented singer in his own right left the band. And yet they became more popular. He was able to have a great solo act. That kind of speaks to how Phil sings. He sings with his whole body. He's one of those R&B soul infused vocalists, kind of, channels the Motown, a little bit of like Levi Stubbs in him, because he sings like a regular guy, but he sings like he's the hardest working singer in the business. He's just throwing his blood, his sweat, his tears into the songs, every word, every syllable. He needs you to believe him. I think a great example of that is That's All from Genesis self-titled in 83. I just love like the little extra grit he puts into his vocals when he accentuates but just as I thought, as a going all right, and I was wrong. Just that like little extra he puts in there is great. Just as I thought it was going all right, I found out I'm wrong and I thought it was right. And he wasn't always like that when he first stepped in for Gabriel on Trick of the Tail. A little higher, a little more of that like metaphysical, a little less of the R&B, but I think he was great right off the bat. Squonk, I think, is a great vocal performance. He still, even in the early prog days, had like a little tiny bit of the R&B stuff, and I think he would grow that. I love his range of emotions on a song like Ripples. And he starts out so tender, but he's just able to build the drama through his vocals so well. And that final crescendo into those falsettos at the end, those pleas. I think just really gets that emotion, that hurt really well. And that's something I think he would take into his later stuff with Genesis. You have a song like Mama. And that is one of my favorite vocal performances of all time. The range of vocal emotion and traits that you need to possess to pull off that song. The physical vocal range, going from like vulnerable and hopeful to spiteful and hateful in those 6, almost 7 minutes. I think it's just incredibly impressive. It's just all Phil, that song. Just carrying it. I love, people kind of make fun of him, but that ha ha ha, ow part that he does, I think that's so great, so unique. And that one moment late in the song, like he does this falsetto that has like grit on it. He hits this like incredibly high note, and it's so cool. One of my favorite like little 1-second vocal parts ever, the don't goes in the outro. Just, if you don't feel that emotion, then you are a robot. And that's why I love Phil. The emotion that he's able to convey is great. The sad, when he sings sad, nobody sings sadder. When he's angry, you feel it. He's got a great strain to his voice. I think his best vocal album probably is Duke. Just the most deft blending of that old prog and new pop forward stuff. Duchess, I think, is a masterclass in soulful delivery. That little I don't know what it is, a little bridge or something when he sings and all the people cried, you're the one we waited for. Sends a shiver down my spine.
And all the people cry, you're the one we waited for.
And he's able to do sympathetic and misunderstanding. His emotional head singing and Heath is just amazing. I love his ability to convey emotion, and that's why Phil Collins, the hardest working man in showbiz, is my 17th favorite singer of all time.
Obviously not going to be my number 17, but you literally probably did pick my favorite Phil Collins like songs and moments. You plucked a lot from Trick of the Tail. I also love Duchess from Duke, so I don't totally buy your like all in on R&B kind of thing with Phil. I mean, there are influences, but I don't know. I kind of think you go a little bit over the top with it at times. But that you hear what you hear. I also get what you're saying, more of like the effort, like more of the
Yeah, I mean, he's not an R&B soul singer, but he obviously really respects the Motown stuff. He covered Can't Hurry Love, and he had a cover album full of not very well done Motown songs, but it's because he was old, not because, he's a bad singer.
All right. My number 17, maybe one of the least technically vocally gifted singers on my list, but someone who just makes up for that with attitude and charisma. I think one of the best rock and roll frontmen of all time, maybe my very favorite. I've got Ian Hunter at number 17. And, anytime I hear his voice or see video of him performing, it's just magnetic. I don't know why. Something about Ian, I'm transfixed. To me, he's just someone who seems to understand what good rock and roll is supposed to be, and he never dials it in. He can be a storyteller. Some of those songs on like Mott and the Hoople where he's talking about the band breaking up. It's so cool and such an interesting songwriting approach to like have the band performing the song about them breaking up. He can be theatrical, just completely over the top on a song like Marionette, where he's like screaming at the top of his lungs, I want to get out, I want to get out.
Creator, conceiver, romantic love, receiver, coach. Who are you?
The nerve.
I want to get out. 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 I want to get out.
And then you can really see like how emotionally connected he is when he does ballads. And I think that also reveals why the rock stuff works so well too, because he's really connected to the material. Stuff like No Wheels to Ride and When My Mind's Gone from Mad Shadows is incredible. You can really feel his emotion in that, his voice kind of cracking and breaking in places. Or even in the spoken word poem, basically, of Shades Off from his self-titled solo record, I think is super cool.
And you see the green fields as you travel on by, and you look at the things you'd forgotten to try. And you wish you were young, and you wish you were old. But the song's always.
And also just kind of shows just that quality of his voice. Even speaking, there's something about it that is captivating. I also think I have a kind of a theory. Part of what makes him special is his age. He was born in 1939. He was 30 years old when Mott formed. He was like 33 before they had any success. He saw the lifestyle, I think, and understood that, he went along with it. He put on the glam outfits. He was, wearing the platform shoes and everything. But he understood that was just kind of something you did, and that wasn't really what made you great. That didn't make him cool. He's up there giving a show, and he wants to give a show, but he knows it's ridiculous. And I think there's something in that. Like, he has seen what life can be. He was pretty much resigned to the fact that he was going to be a factory worker. So I think he had a different perspective on rock and roll than even people maybe just 5 years younger than him did coming up. And I think that gave him a little edge, and he kind of understood that this was maybe a fleeting thing, and he kind of approached it differently. And I don't know, to me, he's just one of the all-time great frontmen. Like I've said, I think there's just like an intangible quality to his greatness. It's a little wise, a little weathered, really charming. funny, humorous, just one of the best to ever do it. I love his voice. I love his personality, the way he delivers songs. I think it's pretty much unmatched. So number 17 for me is Ian Hunter.
I didn't know he was
All
30.
right.
Oh, that's weird. He was so old for a rock and roll singer. It kind of blows my mind.
Yeah, he's like as old as McCartney. It's weird.
He does have a cool voice and a cool swagger about him. My next entry into this saga is not so cool. In fact, he is easily one of the most disliked people in rock. I don't even really like him personally. And Jason was describing Ian Hunter as funny and charming, and this guy is none of that. I've got Bono, who, of the attributes I will speak of, I don't really think variety is one of them. Like, he's like, the thing he brings to the table is like emotional conviction. So he's not gonna pull off like these quirky little songs like with a wink and a smile behind them. He's not gonna have any humor in his songs. He sings every song like, it's the end of the world and he's leading the last tribe of, humanity, which is what I love about him. I probably among the three am the most magnetized to emotional output in the song, and I don't know if many people really do it better than Bono, and I think that's part of what makes U2 great. I think technically he's probably an average singer, but he does have this really cool allure to his voice. I think he is underrated technically. I think he's got a really good falsetto. That little sweeping intro where he does the really like delightful romantic falsetto coming into the sweetest thing, I think is really nice. I do think he's really good when he gets kind of lower and does the low kind of almost talking romantic kind of vibes, like in the first few bars of With or Without You before he pumps it up, or even in One, which isn't even one of my favorite songs. I think he performs well. The thing with him is like he can really take off just soaring like an eagle with his voice and really make you believe everything, like in where the Streets Have No Name, the blowing in the wind, burning down love things. He is just so encompassing, so up in the clouds, so just triumphant. I don't really think he gets enough credit for some more of his rock style, like in a song like Desire, those lines leading up to when he does the Desire part, like with a red guitar on fire, really takes off. And I think he has, even though he's kind of a loser and tries too hard, I think he's got some cool sensuality and sexuality. Like the way he delivers in mysterious ways is really cool. There's some good punctuation there. But really, it's all about the power. And so many songs, like he can do it romantically, like, and I'm still haven't found what I'm looking for. Gloria, and I absolutely love like just the more fiery political stuff, especially at the beginning of their career. One of my favorite U2 songs, Like a Song, when he does the backing vocals, when he's like, revolution once again. Like you just buy into that. He sings like a leader, like he's giving off leadership qualities. And yeah, I just think the emotion is just so strong that I think it overcomes, him kind of having average singing abilities for the most part. He'll be the first to tell you. He just published that article months ago where he was like, I don't think I'm a good singer. And it's like, man, dude, take it easy.
He's also full of shit, but I would say he's a good singer. I think technically he's got to be. I think so. He's got good range.
Yeah, even myself, who's not a U2 fan and not really a Bono fan, I would say he's a well above average singer. I think he has a really powerful, strong voice when he gets up there. I think actually probably even more than it seems. I think some of those notes that he hits are deceptively, with the strength he hits them with too. I think they're just deceptively difficult things to sing.
All right. Thanks, guys. You guys doing the work for me. I have successfully, in 3 years, brought Jason into defending Bono on the channel.
All right, let us know what you think of our picks. Let us know who your own favorite singers are down in the comments. Make sure you hit the like button, subscribe to the channel if you've not yet done so. Check the video description for links to Patreon and our social media. And thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.